I remember in the MTC the day that we got our travel plans. That was an exciting day. Everyone was freaking out. They're all excited, thinking about, okay, what's it going to be like when we get there? What are we going to do? Looking at our itineraries. And so it ended up taking us 3 days before we actually got to Argentina. From leaving Utah to get to Argentina, it took us 3 days. So we left the MTC at 6 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning, I think it was. And then we went down to Texas, and then we had like a 5 or 6 hour layover. Then we flew clear up to New York, and then we took a red eye, I think that's what they're called, to Buenos Aires, and that was like a 24-hour flight. It was crazy. Something like that. All the days blurred into one. And then once we got to Buenos Aires, I remember we met some of the missionaries, and I just remember thinking like, wow, these are missionaries coming home. I'm just getting here. They look so seasoned. They know what they're doing. And, you know, I just remember getting there and looking at everything like, oh my gosh, this is Argentina. I'm at the bottom of the world. And then they loaded us all onto buses, because I found out later that the ash from Chile prevented us from being able to fly. So instead of taking a 2-hour flight from Buenos Aires to Neuquen, we ended up taking like an 18-hour bus ride. So we were the lucky bunch that got to do that. And so they loaded us on these buses, and they're like double-decker buses, and they have these seats that kind of recline back. And they're pretty nice buses you'll find in Argentina. They're pretty nice. And so they like give you all these different meals and things like that as you're on the bus. And I just remember the crazy anticipation as, you know, trying to get in the last minute. I wish I would have studied more of the MTC, but all of that studying wouldn't have helped, I don't think, anyways. It does, but just thinking that anticipation of like, what's it gonna be like? And so I remember we got into Neuquen at the bus station at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and my mission president was there with his wife at 4 o'clock in the morning, and the assistants. And I just remember like waking up all crazy frazzled, and I remember my MTC teachers telling us like the first impression is so important, you know, all these things I was supposed to do, and handshake and look him directly in the eyes, and you're like, say something epic. I'm sure but I got off the bus and hadn't showered in 3 days, and I just remember shaking his hand and was just like, he was like, welcome, Hermana Smith, and I was like, we're here. And then Hermana Peterson, she gave me a huge hug, and I was just like, oh, okay. And it was so great. And so they took us to the mission home, and then it was paperwork that we had to do, and I was thinking, okay, yeah, now we're gonna get a break. We just started right in. So we went in, and I think they gave us breakfast, and then they're like, okay, now you have to go to this place and do this paperwork and that. So it was a crazy whirlwind. And then I remember getting my companion, and I remember meeting 2 of them, because there was a gringo, I would say, and then a Latin companion. And I was thinking, oh, please give me the gringo, because I don't know Spanish. She's going to help me so much. And Heavenly Father knew otherwise, and I got the Latin companion, and she was from Guatemala. She didn't speak English, and I didn't speak Spanish. So if you can imagine, it was pretty crazy. But that, I think, was one of the biggest blessings, was her not being able to speak English. So, yeah.